Well, hello there. Welcome to day number 6 of my vlog, being an empty nester and trying to move out of the teaching profession. My name is Robin Norgren. Make sure and follow along for these daily blogs as I talk to you about what I've been doing. So today's topic is what 3 jobs have been offered to you lately? Okay, so right now I'm getting ready to go out on my walk. If you've been watching my other vlogs, you know that I have started using a weighted vest. It's a 12-pound vest. I got it from my local Walmart. It's said to be a way to help with strengthening the core, strengthening your bone density. As I mentioned, it's a 12-pounder. It's not really crazy heavy. This is day number 3 that I am using it, and I definitely have started looking forward to my walks again. I would probably consider myself an over-exerciser. I've exercised pretty much all of my adult life and ad nauseum, you know, going to the gym sometimes 2 times a day. And I have found I have no desire to exercise, but I know it's good for me. So one of the things that I've always loved doing is walking, but the problem with walking is it really doesn't do much for me aerobically, or it just, you know, I just find it to be boring. So adding this as incentive has done a couple things. It's made me want to go walking again, and it's also been like this really very calming experience to put it on and to get ready to go. If you've seen the video I did the other day about the things I do in the morning for my chattering mind, as I'm trying to transition out of the career that I'm in into a new career, you wake up and you many times feel like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Just go back to what you know. And that's just no way to change how things are going in your life. You have to be willing to have that downtime and watch and see what unfolds. So here I am right now. I've got my weighted vest on. I'm just wearing a random t-shirt and some jeans. As I mentioned, I live in Ohio, so the temperature today is mid-50s, so not too terribly cold, but cold enough to remind me why I did not want to take that drive-in coffee job that was, I was happy to do, because obviously employment, bills to pay. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought there is absolutely no way I'm going to enjoy doing that, especially when we get into the colder climate, colder months, I guess you would say. So that being said, I am ready to go. I just need to get my keys. Oh, one more little cute thing that I've gotten. I have always been a fan of cat eye lenses, and I do wear contact lenses, but I thought this might be a nice little twist. So here are my new cat eye reading glasses. Aren't they so cute? I mean, you won't see them very much today, but I just thought I'd show them to you because a little pick-me-up came in the mail yesterday, which was very nice. Okay, so as we get ready to go outside, I gotta get my keys. You'll of course come along with me. As I mentioned at the top of this video, what I'm going to be talking about today is this question of what jobs have been presented to me and what people have suggested for me to have as my next new gig. So again, I have lots of well-meaning friends who are very much concerned about my decision to not take that coffee shop job. And, rightfully so. I mean, just saw one of my friends post, just yesterday that he is now unemployed and he's looking for a job. I guess for better or for worse, the reality of my life as a teacher and specializing in preschool is that those jobs pretty much come a dime a dozen because of the way employees are treated in those jobs. So if I really got down to it, I would have to go pick up a job as a toddler teacher. I've already gotten my fingerprint clearance and I've done all the things that would cause me to be able to get hired immediately. So it's not like, what am I gonna do? I mean, it's out there, so I can give myself a little bit of time. So I know that's playing in the back of my mind, whereas, you know, my friend that I saw posting that this morning, he's not necessarily in that position. And then I have another friend whose, you know, husband is a little bit older, and there is a reality to that, you know, you being older and they're not as quick to hire you, or they hire you at like drop bottom prices, which is always very annoying because they know they're getting such a bargain with you. Anyway, that being said, so one of the jobs that was suggested to me is that I would go into maybe admin, like in a school, like the front office, right? And I thought, you know what? I have been thinking about that. I actually have been thinking about that for quite a long time. And I have actually applied for those kind of jobs. And I am not kidding you, friends. Those jobs, I pretty much almost immediately get the rejection email on those. I don't know what it is about having been a teacher, but they do not want to put a teacher into an office job, and I don't know why. And I had this same thing, so I thought, well, maybe it's just true about Arizona, but I have done it as well in Ohio. You would think I'd be a shoo-in in those types of things. At the very least, get an interview? Nope, can't even get an interview for that type of job. So there's one crossed off the list. Now, as I mentioned to you yesterday, you know, this idea of like going into the vitamin department at like a grocery store or a Whole Foods environment, or, you know, even like a holistic medicine situation. That's definitely where I've been looking to move into. And, you know, I've filled out applications for a company called Fresh in Time, which is kind of like very much like the Sprouts that you would find in Arizona, which is where we're from. Did the same thing for Trader Joe's. You know, who doesn't love a Trader Joe's? Would be nice to have that kind of discount, because I love Trader Joe's. So I haven't gone to the Trader Joe's not one time yet. And then Whole Foods. Now I did get I had an interview with Whole Foods a couple weeks back, and the problem was they were only guaranteeing 24 to 29 hours a week. You literally had to have Monday through Sunday open availability, and it was close to 40 minutes away from our house, where, you know, the pay was only going to be $15 an hour, and it was just, you know, just the gas alone, and the reality of being that far away. And, you know, if I ended up having a shift that was rush hour, taking forever to get home, it just didn't seem like it was a good fit. So I, you know, kindly turned down the job, but I was still kind of hoping, because there were a couple other Whole Foods in my area that were actually closer locations, that I kind of hoped that wouldn't hinder me moving forward on that. But I didn't know for sure, right? I mean, I did it respectfully. I just didn't respond back to the offer letter, text the person who interviewed me, thank you so much, I've just decided not to move forward. And so, you know, I thought, I've done all I can. Hopefully I'm still eligible to be interviewed. The other option that has been suggested to me is to perhaps go to my local Parks and Rec and either teach classes there, which again would be in the teaching realm, or to do something like front desk there. And so today, that's what I spent my morning doing. I did see a posting for Parks and Rec department and front, you know, customer service. So I thought that would be great. Filled out, I'm not even kidding you, it was probably a 45-minute resume, or 45-minute application, right? Because it's a government job. And all I kept thinking is, well, they always say government jobs are good to get into. So that's what kept me going. But oh my gosh, like the pay, I want to say was maybe $17 an hour for the amount of information I had to put in. looking up old jobs and finding, the spelling of old bosses and all this kind of stuff. It was like, man, oh man, this is a lot of work for $17 an hour. But again, in the interest of, kind of proving to myself and sharing with you what ended up happening is when I finally finished it up, and I think I told you I also run my own business where I write curriculum, and I'm doing all this editing on my curriculum so it looks nicer and it's better optimized for SEO and all that kind of stuff. After I took all that time to do that, I literally had no energy to then start editing. So I just kind of sat for a few minutes drinking the cup of coffee I had, and I'm just like, all right, well, what should I do now? Should I go home and go for a walk? Do I just need to regroup, and maybe this afternoon work on my SEO stuff? And then I see a phone call come in. So I answer the phone, and she introduces herself, and she says she's from Whole Foods. I was like, oh, well, good news. That means that my application is still active. That's fantastic. And so she just basically said, are you looking for a full-time job? And I said, as a matter of fact, I am, which was, again, fantastic. And so she asked me some questions. It's like for customer service, shift leader, and as you may know, Whole Foods and Amazon have joined forces. Whole Foods now owned by Amazon, so you'd also do the e-commerce portion of it. And so, we talked for a little bit about what experiences. She saw my teaching experience. Do I have anything in like that customer service in the form of like retail realm, which I do. I think I've mentioned I've worked at Starbucks before. I've worked at this grocery store, as I mentioned. Worked at, a Barnes & Noble. Actually worked at a potting painting place. So those jobs actually were the jobs that I did and loved. The only reason why I moved into teaching is because my husband started deploying, and I had a little girl, and I didn't want to, have her in daycare, missing her dad and then also missing me. It just felt like too much. Like we just needed to make a change. So even as I say that to you, I'm like, so even in that, I made a pretty drastic change to move into what I am doing now. How sweet is it? We're going to see it. It's a robin bird that was sitting there while I was talking to you guys. Such a cool little omen. Yes, and here's my walking path. Every day is such a beautiful, beautiful little scene for me. So it's like things starts going brown for the winter. Won't be as pretty, but so I'm really enjoying that now. But anyway, all that to say is, so that's where we're at. I have an interview for them on Monday, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so here you are. What do you do when you're waiting? You do an inventory on what you know to do. You ask for advice from, friends who know you well enough, know what you bring to the table, and then you just kind of trust your instinct. And then trust also that God is always working and always moving. So anyway, thank you for stopping by. I hope you're enjoying these vlogs. Make sure and share them if you're really, wanting others to maybe support me as I go along this journey. And yeah, I just truly appreciate you taking the time to encourage me in the comments. And if you have any questions about my journey, I'd be happy to answer them in video form. So just let me know.